sponsors, people to be involved and make this a real success. So this webinar is a bit about that, really, an opportunity to learn a bit more. So how we're going to do this is you'll get a brief introduction from us. We'll talk a little bit more about the exhibition, and then we'll spend a good bit of time at the end answering any questions that anyone has. We've got a few people here this morning from the Housing Festival. So we've got myself, and we've also got Jessie.Hayden. Give us a wave, Jessie. John Bonning's here from the Building Centre. He'll be speaking in a little bit. And we've also got Laura here from the Building Centre as well. Give us a wave, Laura. Brilliant. Thank you. All right. So let me hand over to John, and he will introduce the Building Centre.
Thank you, Jessie. Good morning to all of you. I know that many of you are familiar with the Building Centre. For those that are not, the Building Centre is an independent forum for organisations in the built environment. We were established over 90 years ago to promote collaboration in the industry and the sharing of information. We deliver a programme of exhibitions and events throughout the year. We have a central base in Fitzrovia, London, where we have product galleries, we run our exhibitions, we have a large number of resident businesses based within the building, so head offices of organisations such as UK Green Building Council, Construction Industry Council, and Build UK, and many others. We have co-working space for over 40 organisations, mainly SMEs and startup organisations. And we deliver probably somewhere in the region of about 300 partner events through our conferencing space in the centre throughout the year. The average weekly attendance in terms of people, visitors coming in is 1,500 that come through the door on a weekly basis. We are a non-for-profit organisation. We sit below the Built Environment Trust, which is a charity registered organisation providing educational aspects into the construction industry. And our mission is to inspire, connect and empower people to improve their built environment. Thanks, Jessie. Jessie, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, John. Rookie error right there, but thank you so much. So the Housing Festival, partnering with the Building Centre, we're a think and do tank. We're based in Bristol. We were set up in Bristol, but we work across the whole of the UK. And really our focus is around how can we help solve the housing crisis? A big aim, but it's focused on actually how do we take learning and collaboration and curating some of the best experts across the sector to bring together to learn from those, but then see that implemented in real life. So not just a think tank, but a think and do. How do you then implement that best learning and then go back round and learn the lessons from the implementation of that? So we've been working very closely with a few local authorities, particularly Bristol, for the last 6 or 7 years, looking into how do you capture that learning going forward. More recently, that has turned into a playbook. So we worked with 60 odd organisations and gosh, who knows, so many different authors, and to pull together an MMC playbook on social housing at pace. That's available on our website if you're interested. And it's that playbook that we're starting to look to bring together with the Building Centre to help shape this exhibition. So the playbook really is a recognition that we know that we have a massive housing crisis within the UK. We know that the latest stats are staggering when it comes to the numbers of children in managed homelessness, temporary accommodation known as TA. And we know that those numbers aren't reducing. And there are some stats here on the screen in front of me, which I'm not going to walk you all through, but we will share these if you're interested to look into the details. Some of the latest information really that's coming out is suggesting that we need 90,000 social rent homes to be developed per year in order to start to tackle that challenge. And really the social housing playbook, the MMC playbook at pace, looks at 3 elements that we think are really crucial to make that work and make that possible. One, around the land supply. How are we going to find the land to deliver that? And our thesis suggests that actually we need to be looking at small sites, at small brownfield sites, garage sites, etc., those like parcels of land within city and towns. Secondly, there's a question about how do we where's the supply chain? How are we going to get these actually built? And here is where the MMC element comes in, because we believe that actually MMC really is crucial to the development of those small sites. Because if you can aggregate them and hand those over to an MMC supplier, there's a really interesting dynamic at play when you can load up an MMC supplier with a good pipeline going forward. And then equally, how do you recalibrate the economics? So really, how are we going to finance this? We know that local authorities are stretched. We know that national government is stretched. So really, how are we going to answer those questions of who's going to pay and how? Questioning methods of viability and all sorts of different things. I won't give away all the answers that are in the playbook or suggested answers that are in the playbook from that collaboration document, but essentially this is what we're going to be focusing around the exhibition on with that focus on MMC. So as the playbook sort of shows, collaboration is absolutely key for us, particularly when it comes to solving this real kind of awful crisis that we're facing, particularly around children in emergency accommodation. Collaboration is just absolutely crucial. And so we're looking for that collaboration as part of this exhibition. So I'm going to hand over back to John to walk us through how you might be able to get involved and what opportunities there are available.
Thanks, Jessie. Yeah, so to just expand on what Jessie said, we will be co-creating an exhibition with the Housing Festival. We want to look at, despite the negative talk about MMC, that the market can and is delivering MMC housing alongside traditional methods. So the exhibition and the events program, because this is quite important to emphasise, the exhibition, as Jessie said, will open on 24th October, run through to the end of February 25. So it's a 5-month exhibition. But we will be delivering on the back over the course of that period a number of events, roundtables, discussions, panel events, webinars, and much more. And that's how you as partners can very much get involved. So the exhibition itself will showcase the Housing Festival's ecosystem solution for delivering social rent. But we also want to look at and sort of emphasise the benefits of MMC. Delivering quality designed housing, highly energy efficient housing. And we also want to sort of explore how we rethink value and the importance that we assign to aspects such as well-being and health. And similarly, looking at the economic benefits, both cost benefits and the stimulus to the economy at large. So why partner with us? Well, by participating in the New Homes to New Ways program, it will allow you to share knowledge, your knowledge and expertise. You'll be able to showcase your projects, your products, your solutions. You can help us influence the actual shape of the exhibitions and the events program, and it will be a networking opportunity for others in the industry. Our aim in terms of the audience this is directed into is quite wide, it is quite broad, but local authorities, housing associations, architectural practices and designers that are working in the MMC space, enabler organisations, and very much the government as well. And obviously with a new government coming in place, we will be trying to reach out to them in the coming weeks. How to partner? Well, we need partners to deliver and help shape the exhibition. So we need your knowledge, firstly, but we also need your financial support in order to do so. We're offering 2 partnership opportunities. The first is sponsorship level at 7K. That will allow you to have a presence within the exhibition and to deliver a bespoke event of your own at a time that you so wish, and we would sit down and discuss the detail with you. The other level at £12,000 is a principal sponsorship level. That will give you a thought leadership role. You'll be part of the advisory group helping shape both the exhibition and the talks program. You'll have a presence in the exhibition. We will offer you extensive marketing exposure to our databases and various contacts. And you'll have the ability to input across all the multiple events that we will be delivering over the course of the exhibition. So that's a very quick overview, broad look at how you can get involved. I think at this point, Jessie, we're happy to sort of take questions and people, and we can go into a little bit more detail as required.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if Jessie, could I ask you to stop screen sharing just for a little moment so we can see everybody's faces? But if anybody has any questions at this stage, we're just going to open the floor up for questions. So there should be a virtual hand that you can raise, so I know that it's you asking a question, or you can put questions in the chat. We've got one question already from Emma. Can organisations only get involved if they have the funds? John, do you want to take that one?
Yes, thanks, Jessie. The simple answer to that is yes, but we obviously do need to make this work. There are financial costs that need to be covered off, from the rent of our building through to all the design work that will go into putting an exhibition and events program together, and all the marketing that goes off the back of it. But we are happy to talk to everybody. One of the roles of the Building Centre is we want to amplify the voice of the experts, and you are the experts in the industry. So we're happy to have conversations with everybody.
Brilliant. Thanks, John. So really just a clear message of get in touch either way, even if the money is going to be a problem, do get in touch anyway. That'd be great. So, okay, we've got no more questions in the chat. Anyone keen to ask a question from the floor?
Maybe, Jessie, while people are thinking of questions, we should say that Crisis are backing us as a charity partner alongside the Built Environment Trust. We are looking for an educational partner with all our events and exhibitions that we deliver. We try and put an educational partner in place, and we're currently talking to a couple of media partners as well. So the reach will be huge through our contacts, through our associated contacts, and through the marketing that we will do via the press and other forms.
Absolutely. And yes, please do keep putting questions in the chat or raising hands. We've got one from Bernard. Thank you. We are scientific instrument makers and we would wish a presence. We've got some contact details here, particularly in regards to an educational partner. So we'll pick that up, Bernard. Thank you so much for popping that in the chat and be in touch. There's also worth talking about the kind of the events program that will be going on alongside the exhibition. So as John said, this is a number of months running that this events program will run, and we're looking at sort of exploring a few different themes in those events programs to bring out the role of MMC when we're looking at how do we start to speak to that social rent housing crisis, but also looking at the finance thread, looking at kind of land and how we look at land and aggregating land, as well as a couple of other things. So those threads are currently sort of starting to take shape. So there's room, I think it would be fair to say, John, there's room for influence into those threads as they're kind of pulling together. Katie, I'll come to you and take your question.
Thanks. It sounds really exciting. I think much needed and probably really well timed as well with everything going on. My question was just, obviously there's the educational piece of trying to make sure that people are aware of MMC and its benefits. But I just wondered whether there's also want to try and educate people so then they can kind of go forward with those tools, and if you imagine that will be part of it, or whether that's something you see being done through the connections that are being made with this exhibition.
I think both, and to be honest, Katie, I think there's a real kind of there's a real want and desire to educate around MMC. There's a lot of myths still around the industry, around modern methods of construction, what it can and can't do. So there's a real piece here around education, but also more broadly looking at actually those kind of, there's a lot of other terms out there, off-site manufacturing, industrialized construction, and they all kind of piece together and make up the bigger picture in the story. And what we're going to hope to do is talk about and speak to those different elements and how they fit together, so that one visiting or being part of the events program would come away with a much broader understanding of where those different elements fit together and how they speak into the wider housing challenge. John, did you want to add anything there?
Yeah, I mean, you're quite correct. It's very important for us in terms of the exhibition piece that we do tell the full story. So, you know, we'll look at the balances that need to be struck between off-site manufacture and on-site process. We will explain the whole MMC equation. We will look at the issues that have occurred in the industry as well. We won't hide from those. It's very important that it is very rounded in terms of what we're offering to that visitor, whether that be the professional person or the public person just coming to learn about the subject area. So there will be that background information, but it's very much about sort of showcasing the excellent examples that are taking place and the initiatives that are happening out there, and that it can be delivered and it can sit naturally alongside traditional methods of providing housing. I think the other thing that we want to get across within the exhibition, and this is very important to us, is in terms of sort of the human story. This is much more than just about providing housing. This is about providing homes for people. And again, that will be a sort of thread going right through the exhibitions and the events program as well.
Absolutely. I think that's exactly right, John. And yeah, it's all types of homes, isn't it? Flats, houses, apartments, etc., not making it too small in that sense. I've had a question here from Rachel. Are all the events going to be in one location, or are they going to be all around the country?
Right, so in answer to that question, in terms of the exhibition, obviously the exhibition is static and it is in the centre here in central London. We have got ambitions we have an outside space. I say we have an outside space, it's Camden Council's, but there is a crescent in front of the building. And in the past, as part of exhibitions that we've put on, we have delivered and installed installations in the crescent. So with the first 60k house was built out there, the first wiki house, we've had container housing. So we are quite ambitious in hoping to try and deliver that. But no, in terms of the reach, yes, obviously the in-person events will take place here in the centre, in Store Street, but we will deliver a number of webinars so that we can reach people that can't make it into London for whatever reason. So we're trying to make it as broad as we possibly can. And I should add, we record all our events, so they're always available, and there will be a resource. So there's longevity to the actual exhibition and the talks program way beyond the actual duration of the 5-month period as well.
That's brilliant. Thanks, John. Trudy.
Yeah, just sort of in response to that, really. Well, a couple of things. I work for Mark McDonald. I am trying to encourage the powers that be here to be sponsors, and we're big enough and ugly enough to be able to do that. I think there's an awful lot of SMEs that have a huge amount to offer that won't be able to afford that. And I would personally hate to see them excluded from being, for example, on the advisory board, because there's real expertise in some of those areas. So that's something to consider. On the event side, I do a lot of presenting at conferences. And one of the biggest criticisms that comes up is like, why does it always have to be London? So maybe if you do have, especially if you've got sponsors from the likes of MOTS, we have offices with facilities and conference rooms all over the country. So perhaps some of your partners could actually host in-person events in the regions and make it a little bit more level.
I mean, that is possible, and part of our current exhibition and events program, Retro 24, which is looking at the need to retrofit commercial properties. We've actually delivered events in other people's offices and spaces if they've got that facility. So we can do that. It's not every event has to take place here in the building centre.
Yeah,
I'll cautiously offer at least the Birmingham office, which I'm based in. I might have to smuggle you in, but we'll sort something out.
Really, that's brilliant. I think that's a really good point to raise, and I think it's worth saying that it will be in partnership with sponsors and those that are getting involved that will be able to expand the reach in that kind of physical way. In terms of the SMEs, I think you're absolutely right, and that's why I'd like to kind of re-emphasize the point. We'd like to talk to anyone that's interested in being involved at whatever level. Like if the money is going to be a blocker, come and talk to us anyway. We want to have those conversations, and then we can go from there. So do talk to us. Katie, you've got your hand up.
Sorry, hand up again.
Oh, please.
Basically, so one of the things that I'm aware of is a lot of the time within, especially in MMCs, we talk to rooms of people that are already believers, and I think it's how do we get people to come to this exhibition, to maybe visit spaces like Trudy's just mentioned outside of London, who wouldn't naturally do that, because we will have people who are like, how do I do this? I have no idea how to do this, but MMC is way too difficult and I don't want to touch it. So just, I haven't got an answer to it right now, but
No, this
definitely
is
something I would have as like a big consideration of how do we get the people in the room that wouldn't normally be in the room.
Yeah, this is really helpful, Katie, and it's one of the things that we're really thinking about going forward. So particularly for the Housing Festival, and particularly in partnership with Building Centre, on the back of the playbook, you know, this, a lot of it is about local authorities learning from one another and making sure that it's shared knowledge and open, to use a turn of phrase, open source knowledge, that it is out there and being curated so that it's easy to digest as well and pass around, so that local authorities particularly, but also RPs and others, don't have to start from scratch and learn all those lessons the hard way. So it's very much on our mind that actually it can't just be talking to the same old people, but it has to be talking to different groups of people to bring them together, so that it's a collective lessons learning, not just of the sector that is learning those lessons together anyway, but actually is stretching out to those that wouldn't be able to necessarily easily access that information and move it forward. So yes, absolutely a resounding amen to everything that you're saying. Debansi, let me bring you in.
Hi, Jessie. Thank you. It was great to hear this, and of course, a great initiative. So wholeheartedly support to you guys. Just couple of questions, and good to see that somebody from Homes England is also here. I just wanted to ask you is what kind of support from the GLA, Homes England, because funding is tight. I mean, we can all talk about how to do MMC or what to do MMC, but funding is a critical element. That piece of work, of course, we need constant involvement of the government, stroke the government bodies into it. And the second question is basically, I think 10 years back when we were discussing about MMC as a concept, now, as you know, we have done several of the concepts. It's more of the modular journey.
Yes.
And that's the journeys, I think, is different from a pure traditional one. So of course, webinars and etc. will help, but maybe you can think about some site visits, etc., to go out a little bit. And I can offer one in Ashford, which is in my background, which is getting ready to hand over. So I think, or anything else around London or South East or anywhere else, I think that would be a good thing to include. Those are the two questions.
Yeah, and we will do that. If we can make it happen, we will do that. Again, as part of past exhibitions, we've had walking tours. The current exhibition, we've had walking tours take place. They can be regional. They don't need to be London based. Looking at projects that have taken place. Homes England have been very supportive, actually, in terms of backing what we're doing and what we're talking about. We've been talking to Department for Levelling Up Housing Communities. Obviously, those discussions have had to be put on ice over the past few weeks, but we will pick those up again after tomorrow. So the involvement also, you know, in terms of our reach, it's huge. We have, you know, Building Centre's been around for over 90 years. We've got well-established contacts with lots of organisations. As I sort of indicated earlier, we work and collaborate with other organisations to amplify their voice. We're not the experts, the Building Centre, but we can pull different groups of people together. So, you know, reach will go through to partners, people such as, you know, Offsite Alliance are working with us as well. So we use the databases. But we really want to engage with the media on this as well, you know, especially if we get homes, house or something built in the Crescent. Undoubtedly, we will get the press coming down and, you know, wanting to find out more. And that's the opportunity to get that bigger reach. And also, as I mentioned, to engage with the public so they understand, you know, there's too many misconceptions and myths around the quality of housing. We're talking about high quality housing that can be delivered here. That's, you know, energy efficient. I think we need to get that message out, and that's the intention.
Absolutely, and that's how we bring homes to those that need it. Jessie, can I ask you to bring up the last slide again? And I'm aware we're running out of time, so I'd like to kind of bring us into land here. If there are any unanswered questions or any burning questions that you didn't want to ask in front of a whole room full of people, please do get in touch with us. We will put our contact details in the chat, but also you should have them from invitations to this webinar and that kind of thing. So please do get in touch with us any way that you can find out how to, and let us know what you want to know, and we'll work with you there. John, can I hand over to you for the kind of next steps?
Yeah, so the next steps are throughout July, we'd like to set up a number of individual meetings. We've got a number already in a diary with potential partners. Time is of essence, truthfully, in terms of delivering the exhibition by October. So by the end of this month, we hope to have the partners confirmed. During August, we will sit down together with the partners to devise the content, help shape the exhibition and the events program. That will carry on throughout September as well, but during September, we need to start briefing our designers and actually shaping the exhibition throughout September. And then that leads us into obviously the install that will take place in early October. We will have a launch on the 24th of October. Homes England have very kindly agreed to speak at that event, where we expect to have somewhere in the region of about 300 industry partners that will attend the opening private view of the exhibition. And then from there on, we will deliver the program of events, talks, workshops, walking tours, whatever it may be. And again, we will sit down with you as partners and determine the timing and when you'd like those to be delivered and how you'd like them to be delivered.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, John. There are some contact details in the chat, but like I said, do get in touch with us in any way that you can. It's been lovely to see you. Thank you so much for making the time and for engaging and asking questions. And we will hopefully hear from more of you soon.